Welcome back to Quinte Connection. Happy New Year. Thanks so much for joining us on the show. Executive Director of the Belleville General Hospital Foundation, Steve Cook, is with us as more draws and fundraising continues. So Steve, Happy New Year. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you. A new year and a new start.
Yeah, lots of draws still. How was the Camp4Cancer draw? Because it was so great to hear that somebody won that nice GMC terrain.
Did really well, yeah. Another local winner from Belleville, so I'm really excited to do that key handover this week. So yeah, obviously that was a great prize, and it's been an amazing experience working with Peter Smith GM. So lots more to come from them in 2025 as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, this past year, you know, grocery prices on the rise, inflation continues to be top of mind. Of course, not a lot of us can do a lot of the big donations end of year like we're used to. So how has that kind of impacted things overall? Are we still just as generous as ever for 2024 heading into 2025?
I think for us as a foundation, you know, we're always optimistic. We work hard. We're lucky. We've got a great team. And yeah, the big, obviously, elephant in the room, I guess, was the mail strike. You know, I read hundreds of articles of nonprofits, obviously, frustrated with the status of that strike impacting all those annual donors. And we were certainly no different, obviously, for our annual Christmas Angel campaign. I think we'd forecasted around 400,000 to come in from that campaign alone, which is, you know, that's a big chunk. That's 10% of your budget. And then when that's under jeopardy, if you like, yeah, you know, the panic sets in and you think, ooh, how can we pivot? It felt like we were back in the pandemic, and you know, pivot was a buzzword. But yeah, the team were great, and we tried to be proactive and contact donors by any means, really, specifically by telephone, and really rallied. And yeah, so far the latest figures, I think we've brought in around 280,000 from that campaign. So still well below where we'd like to be at, but you know, it's climbing. And then with the government extension, of course, till the end of February, I think that's going to help push that revenue line further, and we hopefully meet our goals either way. Yeah,
February 28th, the new extension date on that, which is nice to see. So coming up, something we have to watch right now is, of course, the latest campaign, Camp4Cancer. What are you giving away this time?
Yeah, it's an amazing prize, to be honest, and you know, we love working with them. So the guys at Carl Cox RV have been incredible over the years. They've been great supporters and advocates. So it's a east to west Della Terra RV, a fantastic model, and there's a whole host of other prizes as well that people can get involved with if they purchase tickets. So we've got a bonus 50-50 draw this year, as well as a bolt-on that people can get involved with, and hopefully that pot will grow as people purchase tickets. And then we're trying something different for the first time. We've also got a secondary prize. It's a $10,000 travel voucher. It's $50 a ticket for that one. So I think the hope is that people will enter all three, and yeah, that'll generate even more funds for cancer care for the region.
Yeah, well, the Belleville General Hospital Foundation is the fundraising arm for Belleville General Hospital. Of course, BGH is the mothership hospital within the Quinte Healthcare Network. It's where you get your extensive care if you need so. So a lot of people rely on BGH here in Quinte and kind of outside if they need more support. So with that, Steve, I mean, when we talk about where the money's going to from all these big fundraisers from the BGH Foundation, what kind of priority equipment are you hoping to raise money for in 2025? Do you have a list from QHC yet?
Yeah, we have a list that we run through, and then obviously that you know, all the equipment pieces are categorized, they're heat indexed by department, so we run through that. And there's some priority pieces there, notably around the departments like advanced diagnostics. You know, there's some mental health stuff in there, emergency, ICU, those types of departments, and they include everything, as I'm sure you're aware, from syringe drivers through to vital signs machines through to scopes, all those kind of what I would call perishables in terms of equipment. And then there's some larger capital intensive pieces as well. Obviously, we finished off the nuclear medicine camera replacement project you know, last year in terms of that announcement. In more recent years, we've been involved with the ICU expansion, and it's much the same coming down the pike in terms of Quinte Health strategic planning. Can't say too much yet, but obviously there's you know, plans afoot for perhaps an emergency expansion that'll be more mental health targeted, and then a further ICU expansion down the line. I know there's some scope and scale to grow out, you know, the oncology department in terms of their needs there, specifically around you know, pharmaceuticals, if you like, the pharmacy, because there's emerging treatments there in terms of, immunotherapy and chemotherapy and the like. And obviously with us being the regional cancer centre here, again, we've kind of hung our hat on that strategy, just knowing that they're the kind of larger needs that will be coming down the pike, if you like.
For folks who've experienced a tremendous care at BGH and want to give back, whether they were in BGH over the holiday season or in the past in previous years, can they contact you and get funds earmarked specifically to a department or a piece of equipment? Can you kind of be specific with your donation?
Yeah, we've got about 40 different funds, believe it or not. I mean, to be honest, for us as a foundation, we do prefer donors not to specify a donation to a department, because obviously we have no idea, year from year until those conversations take place, why will be the priority or key area. So sometimes it gets frustrating for us when, say, you have hundreds of thousands of dollars in a little bit more of a, hate to say the word obscure, but not as prevalent a fund, like something like diabetes education, for example, might be a fund. And then you think, that's just going to sit there until that needs arise, where there's obviously plenty of needs in those areas, just busier areas of the hospital, like, say, fracture clinic, or say oncology, or emergency, where there's a larger influx of patients coming through. So with that patient flow being greater, typically they need replacement equipment on a more regular basis. And so unfortunately, that's how it works for us.
For folks who want to donate, how can they do so? We have to keep in mind also the charitable tax donation deadline has been extended to February 28th. So can we still come in with a check these days? Is it all digital still?
That's what we love, to be honest. We love it when people pop into the office, see the team, we get to speak to them, learn a little bit more about, their own personal healthcare journey, if they have one, or about a friend or family or relative that's perhaps in the hospital. We always like to see if they've had a positive experience here. But I think the easiest way, to be honest, nowadays, especially with disruptions to the mail, is, if they just go on to www.bghf.ca, super easy, super streamlined. There's a landing page, donation portal that's completely financially secure, and then even just generates a gift receipt there and then upon the donation. So, most of the time then you don't have to wait for a gift receipt to come through the post, if you like. And that's by far the most time sensitive method to donate, really.
Yeah, more information, of course, there from the Camp4Cancer campaign. Once again, Steve Cook, the Executive Director of the Belleville General Hospital Foundation. Thanks for all the updates on this. Good luck going forward.
No, appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.